Well, welcome to another LEOS Live. Now, we are very privileged today to have a very special man along with us. Not only is he a three-time Olympic gold medalist, but is the current Olympic champion. Please welcome to LEOS Live today, a good friend of mine, Mr. Tom Dean. Hey, Tom.
Hi, very nice to be here. Thank you very much.
Lovely for you to be with us here today. It's a big privilege. I know that you've had a great chat with all the team here at LEOS today. And we'll come on to those three golden discs in front of you in just a couple of minutes. But Tom, you are no stranger to Dubai, and over the last few months, you've been coming here more and more and more. But just before we get into all of that, tell me about your story, how you got to become one of the fastest, currently the fastest swimmer in the world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Had a great day, met the team today, which was really exciting. But yeah, so I've been swimming. I'm 24 years old. I've been swimming my entire life. I'm born in London, grew up just outside of London and joined the local swimming club when I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I've just swam basically every day since then. Yeah, it feels like I've not really had a day off, which has been fantastic because I just love the sport. Trained right the way through my school years, before and after school, every single day. And then I joined Bath University when I was 18 years old. Joined the National Training Centre down there, joined my new coach, Dave McNulty, and we worked together. Well, we have been working together for the last 6 years. Went to Tokyo Olympic Games when I just turned 21 years old. Got these two lovely shiny things on the desk here, these two Olympic gold medals, and then followed it up 3 years later at the Paris Olympic Games, which is about 8 or 9 months ago, and won more. So yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I've got a few days off right now, which is quite nice, but I'm back in training in a few days' time, and yeah, head down for the next Olympic
Can you
Games.
do me a quick honour, because you did mention, can you hold up one of your Tokyo to our cameras? So everybody who's watching this, this is an actual gold medal, Olympic gold medal from Tokyo that Tom won, one of two. That he were two. I mean, not people spend their whole life to get one, Tom. You've got three.
Greedy. No, greedy, I know. Yeah, bizarre. I was saying actually, because we did a Q&A session before this, didn't we? And one of the questions was, did you ever expect this? Was this part of the plan? I'll put my hands on and say it was never part of the plan. I never thought I'd be sat here with these three Olympic gold medals. I never thought I'd be a professional athlete. It was always a dream of mine, but it was always kept slightly in the back of my mind. You don't want to get ahead of yourself. You just want to think about, what's directly in front of you. I wanted to go to university and study my engineering degree, and I love swimming. I was quite a talented young swimmer, but I always thought, just stay steady, keep training hard. Qualifying for an Olympics would be amazing, but to be sat here with three Olympic gold medals is more than I, could have ever dreamed of.
So here's a question. I get asked it from being an ex-footballer myself, and not to the level, obviously, as Olympic standard and champion as you are, but anybody who's listening to this and watching this as well, as far as sacrifices is concerned, because like people who are in property market, whether you're a developer, you're a broker, you have to sacrifice a lot of things to get to the top. Do you feel like you have sacrificed anything to get to be three-time Olympic champion, or do you feel that's part of your DNA and you haven't given anything up that you really would have wanted? What's the hardest thing that you've had to do to become an Olympic champion?
I think it's a really good question. I think, to answer it, you kind of need to understand what it takes to get to this level. And what people don't quite understand, they think, right, you've got to get up early and do these hard training sessions, which is absolutely right. You do, that's a massive part of it. When you get to Friday, Saturday, back end of the week and you're knackered and you've done, 50,000 meters and you've put your body through the mill and, you have to go, that's tough, but everyone can work hard. I think the real difference that separates, people who just train hard from Olympic champions is you can never switch off from this job.
Yeah.
So when you're not training, you're recovering. When you're not recovering, you're training. But every single decision that you make is either going to make you quicker or slower or something. So, we have Sundays off, but you're not off because you're like, am I eating the right things to recover for a tough week ahead of me? Am I maybe walking too much? Am I walking around town? Did I get a good night's sleep? Did I sleep too much and not enough? Am I, hydrated enough? What's the next week going to look like? What am I going to need to get out of it? Am I psyched up to put myself through that pain and that suffering again for another week? So you can never switch off from this job. That's the toughest thing that I've found. Sacrifice, well, some top sports people say, well, it's not a sacrifice because I get to do what I love. And yeah, I completely see that. I'm sat here, triple Olympic champion. I've got to meet some incredible people and come to great places like this off the back of it. But, and people say, well, you don't have to, you have to sacrifice maybe going out or, having a few drinks with friends or having a few late nights. And of course you have to do that. And that's never easy. The toughest thing is saying no and not being able to attend really important events in my life, spending time with my family, visiting, my mum when she's working abroad, visiting my brothers and sisters for important events in their life, when they go off to maybe university or start a new job or move to a new place. That's the sacrifice. And that's the toughest part of this job, is actually saying, my sister's just, my sister's just become a doctor from Oxford. She's graduated from an 8-year medical degree. I can't go to a graduation because I'm at the World Championships. And that is the toughest part of this job.
Okay.
The nights out, the spending time with your friends, that'll come and that'll go. But it's the family stuff that I find really tough. And I say to my family, look, this is a short period of my life. Give me 3 more years till the next Olympic Games.
And they'll be sick and tired.
Yeah, you won't.
You'll always be
around. Yeah, exactly. Go away. I'm going to be crashing on your sofas. I'm going to be turning up to every single event. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be there. But yeah, you have to be selfish. And if you have a good team around you, I've got an amazing family. Most important thing in my life, and they understand what I'm trying to do. But that's the sacrifice you have to make.
So, Olympic champion last year in Paris, 2024. In January this year, we're currently filming this in April 2025. January this year, you went into training for the Olympic Games in 2028 in Los Angeles, 3.5 years before the Games. I mean, it needs some dedication. Now, whether you're whatever walk of life you're working in, but for you, every day going towards that date in July in Los Angeles for the next Olympic Games, that's one heck of a commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, you put it really well earlier, actually, when we did the Q&A, we met everyone. I've got 3.5 years that's boiling down to about a minute and a half at the end of July in 2028. Like you said, probably 9 p.m. Los Angeles time.
Yeah.
In the stadium, 50,000 people. But I'm actually so lucky because everything I do is building towards one single solitary goal. And not many people, I was thinking about this, not many people can actually say that in their lives, to have one aim that they're working towards. I'm blessed that I get to be a sports person, do the job I've always dreamed of doing. I get to travel. I get to stay fit and healthy. I get to, hopefully inspire some people along the way, especially some young people that I work with, in the swimming academies. I get to meet people like I've met today. So having one goal, that you're working towards over a few years. Look, it's a lot of lengths of the pool, don't get me wrong. And it feels
Have you ever calculated that? How many? That'll be an interesting thing. How many lengths in 3.5 years of training? I mean, this is probably one of the saddest questions I've ever asked anybody.
Too many, I think.
Too many, yeah.
Well, if we're doing 50,000 meters a week, we're doing 2.5 million meters a year.
2.5 million.
And I've been swimming for 15 years pretty much. So, I reckon I've done 25, 30 million meters maybe in my life. I was halfway from here to the moon or something. I don't know.
That's the good way to do it. It's between here and Mars or wherever.
Exactly. Yeah, it feels like I'm swimming to Mars sometimes in some of those sessions. But it's a long time. It's a big commitment. But,
okay.
I count my lucky stars. I get to have one goal that I'm working towards. And it's my job. I've got the best job in the world.
So we're here now in Dubai, at the LEOS Developments head office. This is where we find ourselves recording this podcast. What's your link with Dubai? What's your plans? I know the answer to the question already, but what's the plans for you here in the region, Tom? Why specifically are you here?
Well, it's not just to get away from the UK weather, but it has been quite nice the last few times I've been over. Look, we've got these swimming academies, we've got swim schools, and we teach kids how to swim in the UK. That's been a real passion of mine. It's something I've always wanted to do. I wanted to use my platform from the Olympic Games and launch these swim schools across the UK, which is what I've done off the back of the Paris Olympic Games. I want to do that over here. I want to teach kids to swim. I want to teach them to be safe in the water, first and foremost. I want to teach kids how to swim. I want to inspire them to be athletes. And I want to inspire them to be Olympic athletes as well. So that's what I'm doing over here, because there's an incredible appetite. Since I've been over here a few times, like you said, and more often, there's an incredible appetite for sports, for sporting excellence. The facilities are obviously here. The drive is incredible. I don't think anywhere is quite like it in the world. And we've had a few conversations about this. So that's why I'm over here, because I've spoken to so many people and they said, look, kids over here want to do exactly the same. They want to learn to swim and be inspired, and they want to race and compete. And I'm like, this is incredible. What an opportunity I have to try and get, who knows, the next Olympic champion.
You never know. We can get a local Emirati to the Olympic Games. Where's the 2032 Olympic?
Brisbane.
In Brisbane.
In Brisbane, which is quite cool.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah,
Let's
so
get a
LA
Tom
and
Dean
Brisbane.
Academy, brought to you by LEOS Development.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking pie in the sky.
Yeah.
And then get them to the Olympic Games. The one great thing is that you are, you've alluded to and talked about in the past is that Olympic athletes, they finish their sport and they finish their time and their Olympic cycle, and then they do projects. But as an active current Olympic champion doing what you're doing, inspiring and motivating people, like we met the staff here at LEOS this morning, and still, grown adults are wearing Tom's Olympic medals and people are having photographs, and you'll be all trending over Instagram here in the region. You can see what effect those medals and you have in your dedication to sport and to life have. You imagine what that does to kids, and especially, as you say, not only in the UK, here, and around the world, in fact.
You're right. And, look, as sports people, I'm very aware that we have a lifespan and it's not very long. I'm 24 right now. I'll be 28 at the next Olympic Games.
Got another one in you after that, do you think? Who knows?
We'll have to wait and see.
Alan Peace is going for go. Yeah, he's going for the next one.
So who knows? But yeah, you can't be 50, 60, 70 years old, unfortunately, I hate to break it to a few people. It's tough to be an Olympic athlete and still winning medals at the top level. We've got a shelf life, essentially, and I was quite conscious. I did think, is this the smartest thing to do while I'm still competing? Is this going to distract me? Maybe is this going to take time away from training and maybe I'm not going to be up at the top level? I'm so lucky I've got a great team around me who really are driven to make change on the swimming scene at grassroots kind of level, who I can really lean on, especially once the training gets tough. So that's why I made the decision to actually still be a competing athlete while I'm launching these swim academies, because I want to be able, I want to go to the LA Olympic Games, hopefully win a few more of these solid bits of metal and be able to stand there and say, yes, we're making a real change to the sport of swimming back home and hopefully, across the world as well.
You might need a few more sports socks to carry around with. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to do something cool. Feel here. This is the little pouch that Mr. Dean takes his medals around with him, and inside this wonderful pouch is a sports sock. This is the level of where we get to.
I know it. You've been unworn. Let me out, please. Unworn. So no, you're right. With the Tokyo ones, you get these great travel pouches.
Yeah.
The Paris one, it came in this massive presentation box. This big, solid bit of of woodwork. I was like, I can't travel around with that. So I was like, what's the second best thing? A sports sock that's going to travel with me. And
well, long may that continue, my friend. Just before we get onto property a little bit, I noticed on your left forearm you have a Olympic Games tattoo. Because my son said to me, Daddy, can I get a tattoo? And I'm like, that ain't happened. What's your parents' thoughts on tattoos and that particular one?
Yeah, I always joke it's the only tattoo that my mum would let me get. No, I think that's a justified one. The Olympic rings, it's a bit of a classic. A lot of Olympians get it. But, for me, I remember when I was a kid, I saw someone with an Olympic ring. Yeah. I thought that is the coolest thing. That's what I want. It's a real driver. So I came back from the Tokyo Olympics and my sister's got a few tattoos and she said, I'll book us in somewhere. And the gentleman very kindly did it as a gesture of goodwill in London because I was, fresh off the Olympic Games. No, that's the only one I said I'd get.
Okay.
It's the only one I've got right now. I don't know if there'll be more in the future.
And it's only cool to have that tattoo if you are an Olympian, by the way. So if you're not Olympian, that is...
suit you, Lee. I
don't reckon?
If you come and watch in LA, then you'll have to do a deal.
The only promise is that we don't have to wear the same thing. Tom and I met in the hotel this morning, and we are wearing virtually, apart from this jacket, exactly the same outfit today. So anyway, great minds and all that. Now, just quickly getting on to property, Tom. What are your thoughts regarding property investments wise? Like here in Dubai, obviously, LEOS have lots of great developments. Hadley Heights, Weybridge Gardens 4. We've got new projects being launched. There's this Sports City development, which is going to be the home for future athletes and all the facilities around that, which I'll quickly talk about later. But what's your view on investing in property, not only in the UK, but here? How do you view that with what you do in day to day?
Yeah, like I said, I'm always very conscious of wanting to build stuff for the future, be it in my sporting life. That's why I put the work in, because I know that down the line it's going to pay dividends, be it with the swimming academies, because I know some of our students are hopefully going to go on and have a love for swimming. And it's also in, my personal life, my financial life. It's all these things. I'm constantly planning for the future. That's the most important thing. That's what's always been drilled into me as an athlete. You work now, you'll reap the rewards down the line. And that's why property is something that's really interesting to me. you know, as I've started to look at these different options in the UK and do more and more research into it, obviously there's some great opportunities. That's my home soil. That's where I'm from. I know like where I need to train and all these kind of things. But like you said, the longer I've spent out here, the opportunities are pretty staggering. Even having a few conversations with the team here this morning and seeing the models, seeing the development, it's quite cool, and it takes your breath away.
It does, doesn't it?
It really does.
Is it tempted you a little bit to go, okay, I see that apartment there. I've seen that apartment Tom was looking at, so one of the new Hadley Heights and the Weybridge Gardens properties. You know, do you think, oh, you know what, a place in Dubai would suit me quite nicely?
What's nice is they've all got swimming pools. They've all got pools, so that's already a big tick for me. It's already a big green flag. So yeah, look, you know, I'm hopefully going to be spending more time out here, and if the academies take off and they grow like I'm hoping that they will do, then I think it could be a great opportunity.
I'm sure it will be. So Tom, here's a quick question for you. Ideal property. So say you were to come here into Dubai, would it be a townhouse? Would it be a penthouse apartment? Would it be a villa? Would it be a beachside villa? You know, LEOS have got a brand new development over at Sports City, which is going to be a home for sports people. You know, if you want to have track and field, if you want to go for a run, it's going to be, you know, with the swimming opportunities that you're going to be bringing. Who knows? There could be a Tom Dean Swimming Academy around there.
Yes, yeah.
But what's the kind of ideal Tom Dean location? Where would Tom Dean see himself?
That's a good question, isn't it? I think, look, with the sports and the Sports City, you're going to be with like-minded people who want to stay fit and active, people who see that as a really big part of their lifestyle. That's a big thing for me, you know, and having these facilities that I'm in the gym 3 or 4 times a week, I'm swimming 10 times a week, I'm doing yoga and core work, and I'm constantly, you know, working out. Obviously it's part of the job. So to be surrounded by that is super important. So that's something that I think would be quite cool. I love swimming in the sea. I love open water swimming. I love being by the...
And you haven't done that yet here.
And I've still not done it. We were talking about it earlier. I need to get out in the sea at some point.
We'll get you down to Kite Beach and get you swimming out there, mate.
Yeah, so that would be a really, really cool thing as well. I love staying active. So, you know, somewhere I can be in and around that is super, super important.
Well, there you go. You get walking your dog on the beach and on a morning, you know, it's quick swim into the sea.
Some good cafes. Obviously, 7,000 calories a day. I need some good brunch spots, somewhere to have
7,000. No, you and I, Tom and I have spoken about this before, but you and I, who are generally listening and watching this, will have 1,500, 2,000 calories a day. To stay middle, you have to have 7,000 calories a day, right?
So that's just to maintain body weight, to maintain the... So I'm burning 7,000 a day, you know, because you just, you know, input and outputs, isn't it? So yeah, the training I'm doing, it comes to about 7,000 a day.
I haven't even seen you eat a thing yet today.
Oh, no, but you're when I'm sneaking off, yeah.
Oh, is that where you keep going?
Yeah, that's what you
Oh, God. So just to kind of round this up, Tom, what's your goals? What's your aims regarding the whole future for you? Obviously, Olympic champion, hopefully in 2028 in Los Angeles. Life goals, property goals, and professional goals.
Yeah, look, building for the future is top priority. And you look at the top of the pyramid, that's representing my country, that's the Olympic Games, that's winning medals. That comes before anything else for me, because everything falls in place after that. I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be sat doing this, I wouldn't have met the incredible team if it hadn't been for these Olympic medals. So performance has to come first. So training, that's top priority. Keeping fit, keeping in good shape, living a healthy lifestyle, that's the most important thing for me. Off the back of that, then it becomes everything else. Then it becomes the swimming academies, teaching kids how to swim, teach them to be safe in the water, inspiring that next generation. But that comes from the performance, you know, and then from that becomes, you know, laying the groundwork and the foundations for, you know, myself in the future. Then it becomes the investment, it becomes the property. Everything ties in from the Olympic performance, and that has to come number one for me.
And just to finish up on, there was an interesting stat about sports, and your particular sport is the only sport. What is it?
The only sport that can save your life. Exactly.
The only sport that can save your life. And I was thinking, when you said that earlier on this morning, I was thinking, yeah, rugby, cricket.
Yeah.
It's the only sport, because people are afraid of swimming. People are just afraid of the water, or don't go swimming, or can't swim.
Yeah. It's the best form of exercise for all ages, all abilities. Everyone should be in the water and be safe and confident. And look, even if you don't want to go on and win a few medals, you know, we spoke about having a future Olympic champion. Hopefully, if they can leave it a bit of time, so I don't have to have more people, you know, hunting me down in the pool. That would be quite nice. But look, even if you don't want to be a professional athlete, it's a great life skill. It's something you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. You can keep fit and healthy. It's family friendly. It's for all ages. Like I said, the only sport that can save your life.
Well, Tom, listen, I wish you much success in all that you do. Good luck at the Olympic Games in Los Angeles in 2028. Thank you for joining us here at LEOS Developments today. Three-time Olympic gold medalist, current Olympic champion, Tom Dean. Tom, thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, buddy.